Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. Oh, look at that. We teased this. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse Draft Lottery Special Preview with Foxy, my good friend Stephen Fox from Sports Talk with the Fox. Welcome, Foxy. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to the Into the Knicks-Verse family. Salute to the SV Nation, and salute to Knicks and NBA fans worldwide. We can't wait to talk about the NBA draft and hear your questions and your thoughts. We're going to have a great night tonight.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to our follow-up show. Our first one kicked butt. I was so happy with how it did. And let's see. I think I'm a little... Oh, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, just having some computer issues here. Okay, yes, we the first show was excellent, and now we have some. We basically now we know exactly what pick we have. We have the 11th pick. We know what chance percentage we have to possibly get lucky and get up into the top four. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about who should the Knicks target at number 11 if we stay there, and who might be available, who might not be available. We have different rationales. We're approaching it from slightly different ways. I think some guys might jump up in the draft, some guy, and then forces other guys down a little bit. But there's also the possibility that things stay status quo. So we also have that scenario. We're also going to talk about if the Knicks do get lucky and we get into that top four, which guy, depending on which number where we land, 1, 2, 3, or 4, who should we look at? And then we're going to look at some international players. We're going to highlight certain ones that we feel have a lot of potential, but probably won't be that high up. No one that's going to be really in the lottery per se, except for maybe one. There's a possibility one or maybe two. Those depend on the workouts. And we're not in the workouts season yet. We're not in the combine season yet, so that'll impact a lot of where these players end up. So, but we're going to put them out there for you guys, so you guys put them on your radars. And then we're going to discuss some latest Knicks news. And then I'm going to talk about the Nets, the collapse of the Brooklyn Nets. I have a few things to say about that, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say as well, especially you, Foxy. And we will talk also about Jalen Brunson. There's been a lot of news, a lot of interesting developments with Jalen Brunson lately, and we're going to recap that as well. All right. First of all, is there anything that you'd like to say right away that's on your mind about the Knicks in general?
Just looking forward to see what's going to happen. We know Tibbs is going to be there. We saw RJ in the JJ interview say that's my guy. And you know what? I have no problem with that. It showed a lot about RJ. RJ wants to be great, and he doesn't want a coach that says, oh, okay, take the day off or anything. He's a demanding guy, and great players want demanding guys on their back. So we'll see that. The big issue, obviously, is Julius for all of us. If we're going to be able to get to trade him, and what the impact of D Rose coming back will be on the development of IQ and Deuce and others. So there's a lot of questions, and obviously this draft, and we have free agency, but are we going to be able to trade some of our contracts to open up some stuff? So there's a lot of good things, and not only today, folks, but maybe other shows that we're going to go into detail coming up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely get into free agents, trade possibilities, and also when any other rumors pop up, there's always going to be a Berman article about some whack free, some crazy thing that'll pop up, and we'll address that. One thing I did want to talk about before we jump into it, and shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us so much. We surveyed 100 people. Awesome. Thank you, Sincere to Genius. You want to shout out anybody else? Kareem Grant,
still Dre, hope all is well. Others, DBR will be probably joining us, and my boy D is Balling, Justin L, others, Adele Chapman, that we always love, will be showing up soon, I'm sure. So Terrence Hill. So we're looking forward to hearing your questions, your thoughts. It's going to be a great night for all of us.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't hit it yet. And please, if you haven't subscribed to Into the Knicks-Verse and to Sports Vibes TV as well. And let's get going. We're going to look at right now where we started, which is basically showing you now we know exactly where the Knicks ended up. We ended up 11th thanks to the Pelicans making it into the playoffs. And they're still alive, man. The Pelicans are definitely surprising people. Congrats to them for making it in there. However, who knows? That could have been the Knicks because actually we ended up with a better record than the Pelicans in a tougher division, in a tougher conference, should we say, in a tougher conference. Just to bear that in mind. Just shows that if you just get into the playoffs, if you get into the plan, who knows where you can end up. And so now we know that the Knicks have the 11th pick. They finished 37-45. There is a chance. There is a 9.4% chance that we can actually get into that top 4, to get one of those top 4 picks. The first, second, third, fourth, or third or fourth. There is a 2% chance that we win the overall number 1 pick.
God, please, God, please, God, please.
That would be outstanding. Even though this draft isn't anywhere near what the quality of last year's draft, and I think we've been a little spoiled because that draft last season was just outstanding, and even the draft before that with guys like Ant, Edwards, and LaMelo. Those guys, they have all-star potential. This draft, there are definitely guys that have that potential, but it's not as much of a given as definitely last season was. So we have to temper our expectations, but obviously when you get the number 1 overall pick it's always a good thing, right, Foxy?
Always a good thing. Always a good thing.
And it becomes a great asset. Maybe, if we get the number 3 pick, the number 4 pick, maybe we trade the actual pick.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that we'll discuss. But there you go. So at this point right now, Houston's slotted to go number 1, Orlando 2, Detroit 3, OKC 4, Indiana 5, Portland Trailblazers 6, the Kings 7, New Orleans Pelicans get the Lakers pick 8th. The Lakers did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, karma's a bitch.
San Antonio gets the 9th pick. The Wizards get the 10th pick. That's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because they're going to the Spurs and the Wizards are going to heavily, if we stay at 11, they're going to really impact what we end up doing.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the OKC gets their second lottery pick. Again, another year where they have, I believe, right? Then last year they have 2 lottery picks.
Yep.
Yes. And Charlotte, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers round out the lottery. All right, let's get to, here we go. Who should Knicks target at number 11? Now this is Foxy's big board. Mine would have been almost identical, except that, so I purposely went in a different direction just to kind of play devil's advocate, and in case certain guys slide up and down. So Foxy, want to take us through your current top 11?
Yeah, absolutely. I have it kicked off with it could either be Paolo or Jabari. I personally, because of just looking if it is Houston, John Wall, they really, Kevin Porter played point guard there. I don't really look at him as a point guard.
I have a question, though, Foxy.
Yeah.
Is this who you think these teams will pick, or do you have it ranked as, like, irregardless of who gets that number 1 pick, this is who you think should go number 1?
No, I actually looked at the teams.
Okay, me too. That's what I did too.
Yeah, so I try to look at a fit, and that's why I would probably go Jabari before I go Paolo, but because Jabari can't make his own shot, he's pretty much at this point catch and shoot, and I'll get into that in a second. Paolo can make his own shot, and if you look at Houston not having really a point guard, like I said, Kevin Porter and John Wall and everything else, that maybe Paolo would be the right choice there. So Paolo, 6'10", a little over 7-foot wingspan. As we saw, had a really impressive NCAA tournament. Showcased his passing, his scoring, his playmaking. His last 11 games, he shot 45% from 3. So I think he answered a lot of questions about that. He also averaged 4.2 assists. Absolutely excellent court vision, very polished offensive game, multi-level scorer, ISO skills, physicality. Excellent handles. His mid-range jumper, pick and pop, he's going to be already a killer. So does have some issues. I think he may have issues at the perimeter on defense. He, has some issues, but I think he'll work out of it. Has some Randall issues when people converge on him. He gets a little confused and can be a little turnover prone. Had 2.4 turnovers a game.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What were you going to say?
Paolo, let's talk about him for a little while. Let's have a little back and forth about him because he definitely has climbed in terms of March Madness helped him, no doubt, and deservedly so. He played really well, and I could see why he's the safe number one. That's what it feels like right now.
You're right. And he didn't have a point guard, so he did a lot without Duke had probably have 4 or 5 number ones this draft, folks, but the one thing they didn't have was a real point guard that could have really helped him a whole lot, and the other guys too.
Yeah. I worry. See, here's the thing. When I watched him then I went back and watched even more tape on him, he was never double teamed.
Mm-hmm.
I worry that his game is, I feel like his NBA ceiling is not as high as some of these other guys, but his floor is nowhere near as low as a lot of these guys. So that's what I mean by he's like the safe bet. Yeah. But that 3-point shot is real though.
Yeah, and if you're playing along Jalen Green, who everybody's going to be worrying about, I think he could probably eat because they won't be double teamed because of the other guys on that team. You have Şengün there. You have Josh Christopher. You have Tate. You have a few players. So, like you said, I think it's a safe pick. I think that, like I said, I actually probably would go Jabari, but I'm just concerned that Jabari, without not being able to make his shot at this point of his career, it may impact him early on.
To create his own
shot.
Yeah, but you know what? His physical profile and his skill set kind of like they make me believe that he can develop that ability.
Jabari?
Jabari. Yeah. Like he hasn't really had to because he's so tall and so skilled as a shooter, outside shooter, that learning to actually create space against equally talented players opposing, he just hasn't been in that situation that much except for this season. And even then, it's so I have a feeling that he can develop it, but you're right. There's more of a question mark with him.
You mind if I switch over to Jabari now, or you want to go?
No, yeah.
That you're 100% right. 6'10", 7'1" wingspan, just an absolute gorgeous shooting mechanic. So he has his is at the highest release point. So I don't see anybody blocking this kid's shot. So he's a ready catch and shoot ready, pick and pop ready. But he has much better feet than Paolo, so he's going to be a versatile defender. But he had less than 1 offensive rebound, so that concerned me. From a toughness perspective. But hey, he's a sniper. 42% from 3. That length, that quickness. With their guards there, whether it was the Suggs, whether it's Fultz, whether it's Cole Anthony, whether whomever, just thinking that Jabari, I don't know, hopefully Jonathan Isaacs will be coming back, but Franz Wagner, Bamba, Carter, that's a nice young core there.
That is. Magic is, they got a nice young core, man. It might take them a couple more years, but they're definitely on the come for sure.
Sure.
Especially with Cole. I'm surprised. Cole surprised me at how well he's been able to adapt to the NBA game.
He's a dog. Yeah. I like dogs. One of the weird things I'll be talking about, folks, tonight is when I do, analyzing players, I have a couple of columns that are a little different than other people. I have one that is, does this player make the players around them better? And then I have the DAWG column. Seriously, I have a dog column. Are they a dog? And some players I'll talk about it, and some players, are, and some aren't. And Jabari's not at this point in time. He didn't display that dog, that toughness. I want him to play through contact more, and but that doesn't mean he can't get there. So we'll see.
Absolutely. All right, and then so third you have Chet.
Chet
going third.
Yep. 7 foot, 7'5" wingspan, guard skill set, folks. If you watch him, 7 foot, really high IQ, really good shot blocker, rim protector. Had Division One's second best defensive box plus minus. Really great touch. 39% from three, 80% finishing, almost just phenomenal. So the big question with him is, can he put on weight? Can he get stronger? And can he differentiate himself from previous unicorns like KP and stuff, like Nerlens, our own Nerlens? He hasn't been injured, but can he stay that way? Can he stay healthy and put on? So I have him going to Detroit because I think Isaiah Stewart can take on the physicality and maybe throw him to the 4, depending on who they're playing. But he really has a very, very high upside. What's your thoughts?
How about Chet? I'm going to hold off on my Chet comments, but I agree with everything you're saying for sure. Yeah, I'm going to hold off for a little bit because we have that slide about the top 4.
Cool, beautiful.
So we'll wait on that. But it's going to the number 4, just so you guys see.
Here's the wild card, folks.
I have the same exact number 4, which now I think is that's a little bit of surprise. Shaedon Sharpe, who didn't play 1 minute of basketball last season, he just sat out with the Kentucky Wildcats. He has been trending upward. It looks like he might go. Well, right now we have him going 4th. He could even go higher.
Well, did you hear the gossip? Some NBA scouts saw him. Their mouth hit the floor. They said he's the real deal, man. So a lot of people only saw 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s. They never saw him 5-on-5 in Kentucky workouts, but he's done some select workouts that some NBA scouts saw, and they said, OMG, this guy is real. Folks, 6'6", 7-foot wingspan, prototype size. He demonstrating Zach LaVine athleticism, elite first step, ability to drive the rim, nice shooting form, good handles, creates his own shot, could be a playmaker, nice pull-up jumper, hit the 3. That 7-foot wingspan could be disruptive. Obviously, all of us wish we had more film to see him against other competition. But based on everything that I'm hearing, he's the real thing. And and we could see him at number 4 being the wild card here that shakes everything up.
Now, there's a chance that he goes back to Kentucky. There's a chance. He hasn't gotten an agent. So at this moment, there's a chance that he might go back if there's a possibility that he could end up being the number 1 pick next draft. That's how highly coveted he's becoming.
I know. And the weird part about it that I heard is he may not even have graduated high school. Oh, so that's
well, that's a problem.
Yeah, so they're looking for his transcripts and everything like that. So something could happen. Hopefully he makes it. But like George said, there's a kid, Victor Wembanyama, who's basically French's version of Chet Holmgren, maybe a little more skilled actually than Chet. You have Scoot Henderson from the G League. You have Dariq Whitehead. You have a few players that next year is going to be a hell of a freaking draft. So if he does come out next year, that's going to be something. But hopefully he comes out this year. And just thinking with SGA and Giddey and Trey Mann, and he would be a dynamite wing on that team.
Tremendous. All right, now number 5.
Yeah, I have
number 5.
Yeah, I have a hometown boy going to the hometown team. Going back, played at Purdue, grew up in Indiana, and going to Indiana. Absolute athletic talent, sensational in transition, getting to the basket, can finish through contact, can see him absolutely with that speed, being a pick and roll ball handler, creating spacing for others. And I've said this before, if he ever gets a jumper, this kid, he can be an all-star for a decade. But he's not a dog. Less than 1 steal. You think for the minutes and everything he played, he less than 1 steal per game. He averaged 3.1 assists to 2.6 turnovers. That's not really point guard. So he doesn't shoot well on him, especially I was talking to my friend D today. D is balling for some of you. And we were going over some numbers. Shot terrible from mid range. So he's not, basically he's very Obi-like in the sense that he can score 20 points, this guy, but they're mostly layups and, just getting to the basket. They're not outside shots. So we'll see if that develops. But unfortunately, I think that he may have, one of the bust potentials, boom or bust, because of that he's the one thing that I wish everyone stops is the only thing that he has in common with Jaden Ivey is the hairdo. Folks, if you watched Jaden last night, if you watched Ja last night, Jaden Ivey is not Ja Morant, just his hair. And there's just, but if you watch Ja the 2 games prior to last night, that may be Jaden Ivey that he's out of control. 6 turnovers and stuff like that. The kid has to learn a second, third, and fourth gear. He goes from 1 to 5. And in that 5th gear, he's out of control. Sometimes he's too fast. Mm-hmm. He's got to learn to be in control. Got to get that.
Thing is though, yes, I agree with you with that. That he needs to be able to downshift a little more. But even with all that, he flies to that hoop, and when he encounters resistance, he's still able to create a gap, a seam, an opening to get the ball kiss it off the glass for a nice layup. That I'm astounded by his ability to finish. However, he kind of makes it harder on. He needs to be able to do that because he doesn't shift gears. He doesn't have enough of a little wiggle. So those are things that he could develop.
I don't think he sees the floor well, actually.
Yeah, that could be. Even though they have him listed as a point guard here.
Yeah, I look at him that he was lucky that he played with Trevion Williams, played with Zach Edey, guys like Keegan Murray and guys like Johnny Davis were one-man gangs on their team. So when it came to conference and tournament play, they were throwing double teams at those guys and everything else. So he played on a better team, and I thought he could have shown a little more, take the team on his back a touch more. But he has electric talent. And with the right development, and like I said, the thing that bothers me, his mom is coach of Notre Dame women's basketball. She's a legendary basketball coach. Mm-hmm. When you look at guys like AJ Griffin, whose father is a coach on the Toronto, AJ Griffin probably has the best shooting mechanics in the draft. And his father's a coach. And when you look at Jaden Ivey, you're like, why did his mother teach him his foul shooting?
Maybe she's not. Maybe that's not her thing.
I don't know. Or maybe he's shooting like a chick. I don't know. But no, Manny, seriously, if you watch women, they have, seriously, it's not meant detriment. It's the reality. They don't have strength or the muscle mass that men, so they have different shooting motions than men. And it's just facts. It's not meant in a mean way. Yeah. But I'm shocked that he has such a poor shooting mechanics for somebody whose mother's a legendary coach.
Just looking at the chat here.
Yeah, let's talk to our family.
Great. Yeah, the chat is awesome. I'm just gonna keep eyeballing here. Let me see here. Terrence Hill asks, should we trade up? We'll definitely address that.
Hey, Terrence.
Shout out to Carlos Vallejo. Cheers from Canary Islands. Thank you for joining us, man. We got the international crowd here.
Oh.
Yeah, and then Lynx Black said, I said Shaden Sharp was a top 3 pick 2 months ago. The overrated fraud Calipari was trying to keep him at Kentucky. Shaking my head.
Lynx, do you have inside information? How'd you know that nobody else saw his work as everybody was going off high school mixtapes?
Hey, maybe he's down there. Yeah, if you got any footage, send it our way. That's for sure. May 4th, he says all we need is 2. We don't need nothing but 2 small forwards. You watch. Well, it's interesting because
we have a lot to talk about there. May 4th.
Talk about there. Yes. Anybody else here? We got 77 in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button when you get a chance. Be awesome. A sports fan. He like Colin Sexton. I haven't fully decided on him for this year. I have a feeling the price for Sexton is going to be much lower than people think. So
we can talk about it later, but I saw this the other day that from the NBA Analysis Network, they proposed that the New York Knicks get Colin Sexton, C.D. Osman, and Dylan Windler, and Cleveland gets Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, Nerlens Noel, and next year's 2023 first-round pick that we got from Dallas.
Wait, say it again.
So Cleveland, we trade Burks, Fournier, Noel, basically clearing our books of those contracts. Plus, we give them Dallas's first-round draft choice next year, in 2023 that we have, and which won't be a lottery. Dallas will be too good of a team. And we get Colin Sexton, C.D. Osman, and Dylan Windler. It's something to think about. Something to think about. When you clear the books, more than anything, you clear the books of those guys. And hey, one of the things we need athleticism in the worst way. And
I don't think I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I'm ready to give up both Burks and Fournier for next season. We're going to need those quality 3-point shooting guys.
I'm with you. At least one of them.
At least one. Yeah, we're going to need at least. That's what I meant. We're going to need. Yeah, I'd trade Fournier if we keep Burks, and vice versa. At this point, I'd rather trade Burks, honestly.
And I actually rather trade Fournier, get rid of that contract, and that defense.
yeah. I got a feeling like he's going to come back highly motivated. Fournier.
Well, I'd like him to come back highly motivated on the second team.
Yes, that's where he belongs.
That's where he belongs.
Yeah,
he doesn't have to cover elite first team guys.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get back to here we go. So let me go to mine, see where we look at my top 5, and then we'll jump back to yours. How about that?
Beautiful.
Okay, so number 1, I had Paolo because I read somewhere, I was looking for the tweet or whatever it was, that basically Houston was saying that they're not necessarily in love with Chet, and that they're looking more at a Paolo if they end up with the number 1 pick. A lot of that is because he's the safe pick, and I think he actually would fit in really well with them. He's a good passer, like you said. He can create his own shot because they don't necessarily have a great point guard there. So that could be an interesting fit with the Rockets. So that's why I have him as number 1. Number 2, I have Chet there because I have a feeling that the Magic are going to either do a sign and trade, or they're not going to be able to hold on to Mo Bamba. And they're going to need that length, that rim protection, but also still have that 3-point shooting that Chet brings you. That's all I'm going to say about Chet. I have more to say about Chet later.
But they could also put Wendell at the 5 and throw Chet at the 4.
Yes, Chet actually. Bingo. That's the beauty of Chet. He can shift to both sides. And it'd be better for him to play at the 4 in the beginning of his career as he starts putting on a little more weight. The key with him is how much more weight can he put on before it starts impacting his other gifts negatively,
as we experienced with Mitch Robinson this past year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a matter of finding, and also as as you get older, you get that your body transforms from that teenage body into like the man body. Weight just kind of like he starts filling in the gaps, and you're more grounded. Don't want to talk too much more about Chet, but this I'm a big Chet fan, obviously. Jabari Smith, I think, actually might have the highest ceiling of these 3. It's possible.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, he
might be killer with Cade. Oh my God, would that be a duo?
That's why I got him there. if I were Detroit and Jabari was there at number 3, I'd snatch him in like a nanosecond. Actually, if I were Detroit and any of these 3 guys were there at number 3, instantly would snatch them.
For sure.
Yeah.
I could see Chet, Isaiah Stewart playing like we just said about Isaiah Stewart plays the 5 and he plays the 4. If he's at Detroit, Chet, Paolo, the same thing, is pick and pop with Cade. So yeah, so absolutely, man.
Yeah. Shaden Sharp, all basically you gave an excellent rundown on him. I think that if he has, like, depending on how the lottery shapes up, and he gets a commitment from one of the top 4 teams, I think he'll stay in this draft. So I have a feeling that someone's going to grab him because his skill set. He might be the most outstanding guard prospect in the entire draft.
Yeah,
at the
wing.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, wing. He's not a point guard, though. There's even that potentiality that he could develop more into a combo guard later on. That's from what my research has shown that he could develop into that. So that even makes his value increase even more.
Yeah, I look at him more like a Jalen Green on Houston type of player.
Yeah. Maybe not as explosive.
Oh, I don't know about that, bro.
Yeah, Jalen Green is though. He's a blur.
I know. Last year, you remember, I said to you that in 5 years, and that's why when he ended the season, I was smiling. I said he was going to light it up, and so for sure.
All right, so there we go. And then I have Jaden Ivey going 5th because this, all the negatives you had, absolutely, but the problem is that his upside, the things that he actually can do, he does them so incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just explosive, elite talent, elite physique, elite athleticism, and those are just things you can't teach, but you can sculpt and mold. And at a place like Indiana, he could really flourish. In Indiana with Halliburton, him and Halliburton as a backcourt, that could be just outstanding.
Duarte.
Yeah. All right, and I'll just keep going. And I have Jalen Duren going 6th. I just think he makes a lot of sense there for Portland, especially considering that they might lose their center. And he is going to be a solid starter at the center position in the NBA. That's what I'm projecting for him there.
You can't teach 7'5" and a quarter wingspan. No. So, and I also thought,
and he has great shot blocking instincts.
Yeah, but I also think that Memphis didn't do him. Their scheme, Penny's scheme, hurt him. There wasn't a point guard on that team, so you didn't see. He's made for the role on a pick and roll, and you didn't see him doing that.
None of that.
So he's also the youngest prospect in the draft. He won't turn 19 till November 18th. So, like you said, his body is already NBA body.
He's already NBA body, and he's not even going to turn 19 until like 8 months from now.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Average 2 blocks per game. Had 3 games of 5 blocks and more. Nice shooting for him also on his mid range. But he's very young. So with young comes incredibly raw in turnover. He's turnover prone. Needs to improve that shooting, especially from the foul line. Absolutely no stretch 5 capability at this time. But he can be a monster.
Is that why you have Keegan? Is that why you have Keegan slotted to Portland there?
Yeah, I think just with the team with Anthony and the couple of guys there, I think that he would be beautiful. They traded away Covington and everything. I think he'd be a beautiful redoing that team. He'd be a perfect guy to go there.
John Talento.
Yo, Talento.
Sorry, I don't like this draft.
Yo, I thought you loved us.
If you didn't hear our intro, this is not anywhere near the last draft or even the top end of the previous draft either. And definitely not as good as the 2019 draft. So this is definitely a step down, pretty step down. But I think there are guys that could really become solid. I mean, definitely solid rotation players, but like solid starters. And a couple of these guys could be all stars. And you never know, there could be 1 or 2 that could break out and become superstars. It's just hard to tell right now because sometimes if the competition isn't outstanding, it's hard to really find out what a player's got, So like when Paolo's scoring 30 on somebody, it's like, well, how meaningful is that 30? That's some of the problems with that. Shout out, hey, Adele Chapman, good to see you. Digital Madrigal, welcome. Menno F. I think we should trade up for Shaden. Yes, that's interesting.
It's
We'll
going to
talk about
find
the
out
trade
the
up.
workouts. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all about what George said. The workouts are going to determine who falls in love.
Well, that's the thing. That's another thing. We're doing this here. This is more of a preview for the draft lottery because May 17th we're going to find out, what's going to actually happen. And with the postseason going, we're not going to have any workouts yet. So once that starts happening, we'll see who falls in love with who. Then this is all going to start really shaping up itself. And I'm going to do another a mega mock draft where I'm going to look at 7 or 8 different drafts, mock boards, and then create the mega
consensus.
One. Yeah, which actually was incredibly close last year. Let's see what else we got here.
So I had Keegan, he was 4th in the Division 1 at 23.5 points per game. Good shooter from both mid-range and 3. Had a wonderful tournament. Good length, good footwork, can play guard multiple positions. He's another safe pick. He's going to be a solid pro. He
is going to be a solid pro. I think we could probably say that about almost every guy that's on this list right now. Which is nice because sometimes we do have drafts where we're like, wow, half of these guys could be total busts.
No doubt.
They could all be. Well, I don't want to say Kevin Knox, but
no, you could add
Ntilikina. I mean, to me,
it was funny you said Knox because before what we just said had a great workout. All of a sudden, I got this terrible feeling in the pit of my stomach that the last time somebody had a great workout for the Knicks, they selected Kevin Knox over Miles Bridges and others,
and Mikal Bridges,
and Mikal Bridges. That's my boy. And no, that would have been our 3 and D right there.
I wanted him so bad, Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I have AJ Griffin going number 7, even though he disappeared in the Final Four loss to North Carolina. He absolutely finished one of the best freshman shooting seasons in history. 44.7% from 3.
Numbers.
45.3% from pull-up, 62.5% off his attempts off screens. Only Devin Booker ever hit those numbers, folks.
Remember that name. Remember that. Remember what Foxy just said to you guys.
Yeah, so for catch and shoot right off the bat, folks, he's going to be killer, this kid. 7-foot wingspan. I wish he was more of a dog. My biggest issues is he went to Stepanak here in White Plains here in New York. He was an above the rim guy.
Yeah.
The thing that's so impressive about him, he basically lost almost 2 years of school, didn't play organized basketball for 2 years because of catastrophic injuries. What's he do? He goes to Duke, the best school in the world, and he performs at this level. So will he ever get back that athleticism?
I think he will. I think it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, some players you've seen that in different sports. It takes them 2 years to get back to themselves.
And
some guys, not everyone's Adrian Peterson or something like that. You come back,
and you don't play as many games in college,
for sure.
So it not to really work through it all to get right back into that shape that you need to be in. I'm a huge AJ Griffin fan, but we'll get to when I'm going.
Cool.
Number 8.
Everybody knows who follows Foxy knows for 2 years. That I love this kid, prototype, 6'7", 6'9", almost 6'10" wingspan, explosive athlete, his bounce, lightning first step, 3-level scorer, elite shooting form. He statistically in college was, if you leave him open, he will kill you. He's probably the best, best open shooter that I've seen in ages. Phenomenal passer. George and I talked pocket pass, lob passes, no look passes. This kid, every pass, fantastic passer. We just saw him yesterday, Victor Oladipo. He reminds me of a better, bigger Oladipo in his prime.
Better passer.
Great, much better passer. Great motor, dog on D. Has to work on his handles and shot creation, but he's a puppy at 19.
Even though he's a sophomore, he's the youngest sophomore, isn't he?
One of the youngest sophomores, exactly. So just absolutely love this kid, and it bothers me because if the Pelicans get him, Brandon Ingram, Mathurin, CJ, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, that's a serious young team for the future, folks.
That is
I have Jalen Duren. We just talked about him. And then Johnny Davis, folks, I think Johnny Davis will be a much better pro than he was in college. Like I said, he was a one-man gang. He got to the conference and the tournament. They were throwing 2 guys at him, 3 guys, and there was nobody else on that team.
One thing I was trying to pull up the numbers, the pre-injury and the post-injury. He definitely was a totally different player since the injury, which he tried to play. He how many games did he miss? Like 2?
2, yeah, but Bryce McGowan's brother had a real dirty foul on him and messed him up. So you're 100% right.
So I think, and that's why he's slipping down, because he was originally, people were looking at him as like a number 6 pick, maybe even number 5, maybe even a top 4 in the beginning part of the year. But that injury really impacted his value, and he slipped down. I mean, if he was there at 11,
I'd take him at 11. Johnny Davis, RJ 2 and 3. Wow, that's a good foundation. I like Johnny Davis. NBA ready mid-range game. Killer on the pick and roll. This kid's a dog. DAWG. I keep saying I love dogs. Underrated playmaker. Hey, he was player of the year over Keegan Murray in the conference and stuff like that.
Deservedly so.
Yeah. So here's a
guy for you guys. Like, if you guys are like, draft, junkies like us, keep an eye on him. He's a guy, when he starts doing the workouts, you're going to see he might start wowing people, and he might climb back up. I actually don't have him I don't think I have him in my top 11, but I do know that he's one of those guys that could climb up the charts, because once he starts healing and getting out there and showing off what he can do, and who knows, maybe he'll go to the combine and wow people like the way Grimes did last season.
Yeah, at least he'll get measured, and we'll see his wingspan and stuff like that. But yeah, so I like Johnny Davis. I like Johnny Davis a lot, and whoever gets him, especially at that 10 and past, you're getting a really, really good player. He has a deceivingly good first step. He's a slightly above average athlete, but a great first step, and he's just dynamite. Just dynamite. I really like him. Yeah,
and he's a pretty good defender.
Very good defender. He's a fantastic defender. He's very good on defense. That's why he's a coach's dream.
I set you up for that.
Yeah, thank you, man. There was a fat pitch, boy. Upper deck.
That was right down the line there.
So, yeah.
All right. We got over 100 in the chat right now. Thank you guys for joining us today. We got my name is George, and we got Foxy here. We are going to go into some other areas as well, and we're going to talk about the actual 11th picks that the Knicks should look at depending on what players are there. We're going to look at that in a few seconds. I just want to shout out Still Dre. Thank you guys for showing up. Menno F, good to see you. Sincere to Genius is still here. Yes, awesome, man. I love it. You guys,
Del Chapman, yo.
If you have any specific questions or whatever, just drop them in the chat or later on. Any ideas and thoughts you guys get, just put it in the comments section when the show replays, whatever. We read them all, and they really help us understand what you guys are thinking. They give us ideas and stuff. We really appreciate that, your input.
Yeah, John Talento, hope all is well with you and the family. Let us know you don't like the draft, but give us some specifics. What don't you like?
So, he doesn't like it at all. I know what he means. But there's always little jewels there sometimes, man. Even in the very worst drafts, man. Hey, Giannis was picked. What was he, 16th?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah, and when they selected him, he was 6'9". He grew 3 inches after he was drafted.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Here we go.
Number
the New
11.
York Knicks are going to pick number 11. Stephen Fox, who would you pick on behalf of the New York Knicks?
Well, folks, the New York front office made a major, major blunder last year. With the number 34 pick, we picked Rokas Jokubaitis. With the 36th pick, we picked Deuce McBride. But with the 35th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Herb Jones, who will be all rookie. You've seen him in the playoffs. He is that 6'8", 7-foot wingspan, lockdown defender that this team desperately needs. We missed him. Folks, we're not,
obviously we're not upset we got Deuce. Or Rokas.
I am. If I had a choice of Herb Jones over Deuce,
we could have gotten them both. We could have gotten
exactly
Herb and the
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah. And I love Herb. So well, a different type of herb. But number 11,
which
folks.
is
So
legal now, right? In New Jersey.
exactly. So we're gonna make up for that miss for last year and take Tari Eason. Folks, this team, the
I'm a
Knicks
big
team,
fan. I'm a big fan of Terry.
is in desperate need of athleticism, and we're in desperate need of nasty. And folks, Tari Eason got a whole lot of nasty, and Foxy loves nasty. You play in New York, you better have the identity of the New York crowd and fans. High motor, physical, multi-positional defender, NBA body, frame, aggressive. Reason why LSU was the best defensive rating team in the country. His defensive stats, only Matisse Thybulle on blocks and steals had that in college. So elite feet, handles. He's this year's Herb Jones. So very raw on offense, and even with that, he's very similar to RJ. RJ goes left every time almost. Tari goes right almost every time, but he's unstoppable. He has outstanding handles for his size, and for a guy that's so raw, he still shot 36% from three, shot 80% from the foul line. So he's a pup. So I absolutely, hey, what would it mean to this team, folks, if RJ didn't have to cover KD like we saw? If RJ didn't have to cover Tatum, and we have somebody a monster. This kid is a monster on switches. When small guards, they got to light a candle when they see him on the switch. He's a monster. He'll swallow them up. So one of the things when we look at guys coming to New York, can they handle New York? Tari Eason can handle New York, folks.
Like he can handle it.
He's a beast, and I love guys like that. And you know what?
He plays with a ferocity that is like we're kind of missing that on our team.
Yeah,
we have a lot of Obi is an incredibly athletic guy, but he's more finesse kind of guy. He doesn't have the nasty. We don't have
I want Patrick Beverly nasty on this team.
We want some nasty. Mitch has some nasty in him.
Yeah, but he's a skinny nasty. You want somebody that you're actually going to be afraid of.
True.
So, and I just had as an option, folks, not knowing, God willing, a Hail Mary full of grace, we sign Mitch. But if we don't, Mark Williams. Mark Williams, right off the bat, folks. I
have a feeling Terry's not going to be there for us. But
you can't teach 7'8" wingspan. So immediately,
I love Mark Williams, especially if we lose Mitch in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a sign and trade, and we do get some asset back in exchange for him. But if we lose him, we're going to need somebody like a Mark Williams.
Hey, almost 3 blocks per game, an immediate rim protector, excellent motor, very good on the lob, on the roll, on the pick and roll. I could see him being RJ's best friend, so, good athlete, not the greatest hands, but a lot better than Nerlens Noel, that's for sure. So he would absolutely
that's not saying much, but
that's not saying much. Yeah, but so I absolutely see Mark Williams, if we can't get Tari, that he'd be a safe pick at 11 for us. If we lose Mitch, that he'd be a dynamite rim protector for us.
I love that. Big fan of those two that you have there.
Thanks.
Tari Eason and Mark Williams. If the guys that I think are going to slip down, that you already have them on your board, but I think some guy, at least one of the guys, I think is going to slip down. I'd rather take those. However, if they're not there, Tari Eason and Mark Williams would be outstanding selections at number 11 for the New York Knicks. Terrence Hills, shouts, point guard. Yeah, there aren't any in this draft, unfortunately, that are worth it. Though Ty, I'm going to throw a few things about Ty. I know you're not a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of Ty. I am. I'm just not a fan of Ty at 11.
Okay, that's
but
good.
Ty at 16 and 17 is a steal. Ty, we just talk about Johnny Davis having one of the best mid-range games in this whole draft. Ty has one of the best mid-range games in this whole draft.
And by the way, Ty is the best guard finisher in the entire draft.
Or just a floater, one of the best floaters in the draft.
Just his layups, his ability to get to the basket, it's effortless for this guy.
Yeah, my biggest issue with Ty is when I go over stuff, I need to see something. What we just said, Terry's and
Ty had the same problem as Johnny Davis. He suffered an injury during the season, and he
that's
wasn't quite
true.
the same afterwards. Before that, his numbers were. I mean, didn't he have like a 20
Against
assist game?
Georgia, it's 17 assists. Yeah, exactly.
17 assists. So he also can pass.
Yeah, but to his defense,
but not at 11. I wouldn't pick him at 11 unless he comes in and wows him. But he's a trade down type.
Absolutely, and he'll be a very good player.
Wrong, yeah, like let's say this scenario all goes wrong. Knicks aren't able to make any trades. They trade up or whatever, and all the guys that they're interested in are just not there. And somehow we can trade that 11th pick down for 17th pick and pick up another asset. Ty might be the guy to go for.
I like Ty. And
even though he is only 6'3", he has a very long. What's his wingspan?
6'10".
6'10" wingspan. So he's kind of like an IQ.
He is an IQ.
Yeah, except
he doesn't shoot as well.
Except
from the three.
Finishes. From what I've seen, I mean, currently right now he finishes as well as the IQ we started seeing towards the very end of the season. So he might end up being a better finisher than IQ, possibly.
Yeah. I could see teams, like we said, Houston, other teams, he's not a high usage point guard. So for the right team, he's the perfect guy.
Right.
You know, he plays within his own pace and stuff like that. But you nailed it. The only reason I'm like, IQ at this stage and the amount of development and everything else, the thing, like I said about Ty, my biggest issue, he doesn't do anything elite. He does a lot of things well. I always want to find one thing. Mark Williams is an elite shot blocker. Terry Eason's an elite defender. Mm-hmm. He's very good at a lot of things, but he's not elite. He's not an elite athlete. He's just an average athlete, Ty. So that's why at 11, but at 16, he's a steal, folks.
Adrian Reality, who do you guys like? Who isn't in the USA? We actually have a section where we're going to talk about the international players. And Links Black, I don't see Mark Williams as being better than or having a higher ceiling than Ibu Baji. And I got him on our international list. He is someone to keep an eye on for. You're absolutely right. He could. Thing is, we just, we haven't seen him out here, but he's an interesting prospect.
Yeah, great feedback. Thanks, Links.
Yeah, excellent. Hey, Geraldine.
Geraldine, my girl, my Bronx girl.
Geraldine says we have D Rose, Deuce, Rokas, and maybe IQ where we pick in the draft. It should be best player available. Yeah, we definitely have a best player available philosophy. Both of us approaching this. However, depending on how certain things shake out, we might find out. Let's say the Knicks decide. You know what, Brunson? No, we're going to go. IQ is going to start. And yes, Rokas is not coming this season because of Thibs. And then Deuce, it's hard to trust in Thibs giving Deuce the keys as to the second unit. And then with D Rose, and it's unfortunately, we don't know what D Rose is going to be.
We do. He's going to be good, and then he's going to get injured.
Exactly. So that's why doing a little trade down and pick up a Ty to replace IQ's role that he filled at the beginning part of the season might be interesting. So in that scenario, we might still need to do that. But let's see here. Okay, we're ready. All right, here's my top 11. We already went through the top 6. Number 7, I have Keegan going to the Kings 7. I think it's just an excellent fit for the Kings.
He'd be sweet with Sabonis, man.
Yeah, he really would be nice. And also, you never know what's going to happen with Harrison Barnes with the Kings.
Yeah,
we don't know. This is my first. He's international player. My first international player to show up at number 8 is Dyson Daniels.
Actually, it was Paolo.
Paolo. That's right.
He's from Italy, but
no, but he's Brazilian. He's Brazilian. Paolo Banchero is Brazilian.
But he was born in Italy.
He was born in Italy?
Yeah.
But he grew up in Brazil. Interesting. Yeah, so he's a super international guy.
Yeah.
So you're right. He is number 1. But so Dyson Daniels, I am falling in love with this guy. I think the G League hurt him. He wasn't able. There was no.
It hurts everybody.
Yeah. They don't play NBA style game. They don't play
No,
NBA
they
style offense
showcased
there.
there. It's let me get mine type of league.
Yeah. But now, once the season ended and I was able to really sit back and watch hit the tape on him, read up on him, this guy, hey, if he's there at 11, Knicks got to take him. If he's there at 11,
6'8", 6'11" wingspan. Folks, he's the best
and he
on
is a point
ball.
guard.
I don't look at him as a point guard personally.
I think he can be. I think he can be a point guard.
Yep.
And he's tall. He can look over most of his defenders.
We learned from Giddy last year, another Australian boy at 6'8". They see the passing lanes. So absolutely, especially at the guard position, is the best on-ball defender in this draft. Unbelievable court vision. I see him as a very good secondary playmaker. But folks, here's the Achilles heel. He shot 25% from three. But he's a versatile multi-defender, man. 1 to 3. He's an average athlete. I wish he was a little more explosive athletically. Last year we saw Kuminga not do so well in the G League, and you look what he did with Golden State this year. Didn't shoot, but he has a crazy athleticism. But whomever gets Dyson Daniels, somebody's going to fall in love with him. He's also unbelievable high IQ. He sees the floor, so
That's
what I said,
I think he can be a point guard, because the way he sees the floor,
especially in today's NBA.
Exactly. He's a giddy. I didn't say it before, but I should have said giddy. He's a very giddy style type point guard. Like, Giddy's not blazing speed. He's not super athletic, but his basketball IQ, his court vision is outstanding. Giddy's a better 3-point shooter, but even last year, his numbers weren't that great at. Not last year, when he was in Australia.
NBL. Yeah, exactly. He didn't shoot well. Yeah. But he has stuff that, so Dyson Daniels, somebody's going to absolutely fall in love with him. And I can understand it, and especially on defense. Yeah, he's a dog.
He might be, let's see, defensively.
He's the best defender, like I said, in the draft.
On this list here. Yeah, he's the best
in the draft. Yeah, meaning I think Terry's a better defender only because he's bigger. He can only go up to 3, but he's
Dyson could definitely cover the entire perimeter. He could even go down low a little bit, depending on the.
He could handle New York.
Matchups. Yeah, he can handle New York.
I watched little weird things. I saw him at the All-Star game. He played, I think, in the rookie game or something like that. They had some G League guys this year. They added this year. He looked comfortable. It wasn't too big for him. So, not all dogs bark. He's a dog, this kid. So, like I said, he has so many blocks from behind. His length is so many steals. He's very disruptive in passing lanes with that length, and with that IQ, he just anticipates. So with the right coaching, wow, I definitely like Dyson Daniels.
Yeah. And I like him for the Pelicans. They wouldn't go wrong getting him there, because they need size. They need size out on the perimeter. They don't have
Dyson Daniels and Herb Jones. Teams are going to be scared as shit.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 9, and this is kind of also, I think he's going to pop. Jeremy Sochan.
Suchan. Yeah, but yeah.
Sochan. I think he's going to climb up. I think when people get in there and they start doing workouts with him, he's a baby. Number 1,
yeah, he's a pup.
6'10", power forward, played for Baylor, which is a great school to come out of. I have a feeling he's going to really climb up the charts, man. He's got tremendous hops. He just needs to fill out a little more, but I think this guy could really turn. Let me see, who's a comp for him?
I don't know, but the guy covers 1 to 4. The guy, so on defense, talking about a versatile multi-positional defender, his shot is not there yet.
No. So he's not an offensive guy right now.
Yeah, so you have to be patient on that, but he'll be good on the defense right off the bat. And like you said, you can't teach that size. So
he's a project, and teams like the Spurs love guys like him.
Absolutely.
And they need size. The Spurs need size and athleticism. So, and then number 10, we've already talked about Terry Eason, which is why I don't have him, because I think he's going to climb. My philosophy is that in this draft, the players with size are going to rise in this draft, which is going to be wonderful for the Knicks, hopefully, because guys like Mathurin and AJ Griffin, who they did, obviously they had excellent seasons. Well, Matherin had an outstanding season.
Player of the year in the Pac-10, Pac-12,
yeah, Pac-10 Player of the Year. AJ did fade a little bit towards the end of March Madness. I think a lot of it is because his conditioning wasn't quite there still yet. However, I loved what I saw from him in the tournament in the first couple of rounds. You know, and I liked him. I liked his defense. I liked his positional awareness. Either one of these two guys, if we got either of these two guys at number 11, we would just go out and just throw
our future would change.
Yeah.
Ben Mathurin would change the future of this team. And also, folks, not meant as a mean comment, why I like where George is going. RJ and Randall are probably some of the most inefficient players in the league at this point.
Well, they are.
AJ Griffin is the most efficient player in this draft, statistically.
Yeah,
he's all about being efficient.
Yeah, actually, can you recap those numbers, the freshmen? Yeah. Because in case because we have 130 people in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys for joining us, hit the thumbs up. AJ Griffin's freshman year stats are off the charts.
Devin Booker, 44.7% from three, 45.3% on pull-ups, 62.5% off of screens. Only other player in history, college basketball, is Devin Booker, 70% at the rim, 40% from three.
And he looks
best shooting mechanics. Well, that 7-foot wingspan, he, like I said, whether it's mid-range, he has the same exact. It's like Grimes. Why we love Quentin. His shot looks the same every time. His father did a wonderful job. Adrian. He has gorgeous shooting mechanics.
Gorgeous. And then Mathurin.
I love Mathurin.
I think he could be a superstar. I think he has. All right, let's look at this list. And add the guys that you had. Wait, who'd you have on yours? That was Johnny Davis was the only other one, and then Mark Williams. Okay, so including Johnny Davis and Mark Williams, who of these 13 players do you think has superstar breakout potential?
Ben. I see Ben having, because of both sides of the ball, his athleticism and him being a dog. And just meaning we've seen him. We talk all the time about, we watch so many games together during the games. His shooting form from three, he absolutely, I think, has unbelievable. I could see him being a 7-time All-Star.
Yeah. Parrish too. He's like, sounds like we're drafting RJ's replacement.
Hey, Parrish, hope all is well with the family. Hey, I love RJ, but if RJ had Benedict Mathurin's athleticism, he'd be already an All-Star.
Yeah. He would have been an All-Star this season. Yeah, that's true.
He had his shot blocked 86 times last year, RJ, over 100 times this year. As we see, he takes that one extra dribble into the hole. He just can't elevate over the guys.
The one thing about
that won't be a problem with Ben.
Matherin's handle Matherin's handle is the thing that keeps me from really. Actually, I would say Matherin's handle is probably what keeps him from being in the top 4 or 5.
I know, but he's 19. He's a pup. Yeah. But folks, if we had RJ and Mathurin, we see the person who would be happiest is Mitchell Robinson. If we re-sign them, because the only one who gets Mitch involved is RJ. But if we had Mitch and Mathurin, Mitch couldn't stop smiling. He'd be the happiest guy you've ever seen. He'd be getting lobs from 2 guys now, or 3 guys with IQ.
Mathurin is a prototypical small forward for the NBA.
Yeah, 3-and-D.
He could slide over. He could end up being a 2. He could. I mean, if he got his handle together, he could even run the point sometimes. Like, he ran the point for the Wildcats.
Arizona. Yep.
Yeah, he ran the point several times for Arizona. He can create his own shot, shoots off the dribble, 3-level scorer, can finish, and probably easily the best passer of this entire group.
Magnificent.
Yeah. So hey, what's wrong with having another RJ? I would love that. Have 2 wings just attacking constantly the defense, and just spraying the ball when they get doubled.
The great teams have 2 wings like that. Yeah. You can't have enough wings. You look at Toronto and all these other teams. God, and you know what? Yeah. We have all these draft picks. I have no problem if, God willing, the ping pong balls work for us. But I would trade up to get a Ben. I think versus some of the other guys we talked about, Ben
Yeah, let's talk
Caro
about
and
trading up. Yeah, okay, let's talk about trading up.
okay.
I would definitely trade up into like, let's see. Well, OKC's got the 4th. OKC. Let's see. The Pelicans wouldn't necessarily hold on to that 8th pick. I could see them. I could see some. I can see us being able to pry that 8th pick away from them because, look, they're in the playoffs now, right? They're giving the Suns a run for their money. Of course, they don't have Booker right now, but I could see them thinking, "Hey, you know what? If we can turn that 8th pick asset into someone who could really contribute next season to help us get further in the playoffs, I could see them trading that pick."
Yeah, and especially if we paid a tax, we'd swap picks with him. Maybe give him Dallas's 2023 number, give him a number 1 next year, and we have all these second round picks. Loaded up. If we can get a Ben, it would change the future of this franchise. A rookie contract, not overpaying. Oh my God, it would change everything. And again, athleticism. This team is in dire need of speed and athleticism. He would make in transition him and Obi. Oh my God, on a second team, it'd be unbelievable.
Here we have a great question here.
Hi, Menno.
Menno, if Mathurin and AJ were to fall to 11, would you bet more on Mathurin developing on his ball creation or AJ regaining his athleticism?
I have Ben at a different tier than AJ. So Ben all the way, Menno.
Yeah. If AJ did regain his athleticism, which I think he will.
My concern with him is not him getting back the athleticism. My concern is him getting injured again.
That's a whole different way to look at it. That's a concern. That is a concern.
Yeah.
This is an interesting. Well, obviously I picked Ben because my pick is Ben at 11, and my option number 1 is AJ. However, it's the way I'm looking at it. It's not like a big vast valley between them, because I do think that AJ is going to be at minimum just an outstanding outside shooter.
Yeah. Ben's a much better defensive player.
Yeah.
Much better defensive player.
It's the
than
passing
AJ.
that gets me.
The passing, yeah.
When he gets into the
and he's a dog too. And he's a dog. AJ's not a dog. The one thing that I didn't like about AJ is that, like I said, he had Paolo and he had Mark and he had Wendell Moore and he had Trevor Keels and he had all these guys. And he was like, those guys are there. I'll let them. And when they give me the ball, I'll do my thing. I wanted him to be more alpha. Like, give me that damn ball. Hell with you. Give me the ball. And let me show you. So he was too subservient to them. I wanted him to be more alpha. And Ben's all about being alpha male. Man, all about a dog.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So that was interesting. That was a lot of fun. I think if we stay at 11, we're going to get a good player. We're going to get a good player in one form or another.
Or trade up to get a good player.
Or we can trade up. I mean, if Mathurin is there, I would trade up for him. If Dyson Daniels is there at like 10 or 9, I would try to do a swap, and give them, like you were saying, an extra asset to grab him. Because I also think that defensively, I think Thibs would have a perpetual boner for the entire season with Dyson Daniels as off the bench there as a young guy who'd come in and just shut people down with that size. His size is tremendous.
But let me ask you a question. Where do you play Dyson?
I would play him. I would play him at the 2 right now.
So you'd have him at the 2 and RJ at the 3?
No, I mean, I meant off the bench.
Oh, all right, on the second team.
Yeah, on the second.
Okay, all right. Then if he's on, so he's taking Grimes' place.
He would. Well, that's the thing. He'd have to earn it.
So that's my hope, and that's why when I went through my head is like, no, Terry don't have no competition.
He'd have to earn it. But I mean, getting you can't have enough 6'8" guys on your team that are incredible defenders
and that are blink away 7-foot wingspans. Exactly. That's disruptive.
Very disruptive. Very disruptive. And then if I mean, from what I've seen from his shooting mechanics, they look good. They look solid. So
They do. I think there's a great assessment. If you watched him, his ball hits the front of the rim, which means, that it's legs. So I think if he gets a little stronger, better training and stuff like that, good shooters are either short or long. Bad shooters are left or right. He's not left or right on his shots. I've been watching him nonstop. And folks, also, I've been watching so much because Jaden Hardy, Marjan Beauchamp. So I've been watching so much Ignite.
Imagine, this is the way I imagine him.
I've been watching tons of them.
Yeah, imagine the 6'8" Marcus Smart.
Yeah, and like I said, the thing I like about him, not all dogs have to bark. He's a dog, but he's not he's not outwardly screaming like a Terry or a Marcus Smart. But believe me, this kid's a dog.
Yeah,
he's a quiet dog.
So I'm definitely in favor of trading up for these certain guys that we've been talking about. There's certain guys that just have it, that we know that they have the skill set that eventually is going to thrive in the NBA. And we've outlined them here for you guys. I think it's an interesting draft. We're not talking about like
it's a strong draft.
Last year's draft, there's 15 guys that could all end up being all-stars at one point.
Yeah, it was an anomaly.
We're not anywhere near. Here we're talking about 2 or 3. Or 3 or 4. Maybe. Now let's talk about what would happen if the Knicks somehow would finally get some luck. Finally, Lady Luck smiled upon the New York Knicks and gave them one of the top 4 picks, or maybe even the number 1 overall pick. We have a 9.5% chance, right?
Yep.
To get the number 1 pick.
No, I thought it was 2%.
I mean, to get the top 4 pick.
Yeah, we have 9%, right?
9.4% chance to get the top 4 pick. Only a 2% chance to get the number 1 pick, but sometimes it's happened
for sure. We're overdue for some luck, folks.
Oh man, are we overdue? So if that happens, here we go.
All right,
if Knicks get into the top 4, who should they pick? Stephen Fox.
Well,
okay, let's do it. How about this? Let's do it this way. I was thinking about this. Let's talk about it right now. If we got the number 1 pick overall, who would you take?
I put my GM hat on, and the first thing I do is call OKC and say, is there a player that you're going to find out, are you in love with? I'll trade the number 1 to them for OKC's number 4, OK's number 12, which is, I'm using the mentality of the trade of Trae Young and Luka a number of years ago from 3 to 5. So I'd swap there. So I trade the number 1 to go to number 4, because at number 4 we'll get Ben. So and then number 12, I think we get Terry. So I would trade, and actually from 1 through 3, I would try to trade with OKC to do that, to get those picks. They also pick 30, so I'd be a hog. They're picking 4, 12, and 30. OKC.
Just take the 30 also.
Exactly. So I would, I'll throw in our second round pick and we move down to the 30 spot.
I got to tell you, I love that idea, Foxy. If we got the number 1 pick, we trade it. I love that.
But you imagine us adding Ben and Terry?
It'd be awesome.
We would reconstruct the whole roster, folks. We'd add 2 dogs. We'd add outside shooting. We'd add athleticism. Oh my God. It all change.
Yeah.
And then
I'm going to go a different way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a different way. I love that idea. I'm going to go a different way because I think there's one guy on here. I mean, Sharp is still a little bit of an unknown. It looks like he could be an all-star type level guy. Same with Jaden Ivey.
Measurables.
Yeah, measurables. Yeah, I mean, same with Jaden Ivey, but I can't say for sure. You know what I mean? Like however, Chet is such a unique player. And then you mentioned Victor
Wembanyama.
Yeah. Who's right now, he looks like a better version of Chet, but that just means that guy is just going to be, just even more outstanding.
Yeah.
Bigs in this league that can create their own shot, that can pass, that can protect the rim, and can shoot the three-pointer, they're all MVP candidates.
Well
Chet
said.
Holmgren, if the weight issue, if he can find that sweet spot for the weight, I think Chet Holmgren could be a perennial all-star ongoing. And if we were lucky enough to get the number 1 pick, I would take Chet Holmgren. Now it's a risk. It's a risk. But look at, we're in this situation. This is where we are right now. We can afford to take this risk because he'll definitely be an asset. He'll definitely is going to be a player. He's proved it his whole life.
He's tough, folks. He's a tough kid. Don't go by him being skinny. He's tough as hell.
Yeah. He's a baller. He's a gym rat. You know, he's
great court vision, high IQ.
Tremendous. And he will not stop until he becomes the player that he is meant to be. And his whole life, he's had this issue about the weight. And when he was junior high, the same issues. High school, can he handle it? Can he handle it? And he handled it every single time. He smoked everybody every single time. So can he do it one more time?
Baby, one more time. Baby.
I would gamble on that. I would gamble on that. Yeah. So then that also means if we got the number 2 pick and he was there, I'd take him. If we got the number 3 pick and he was there, I'd take him. Number 4 pick and he was there, I'd take him. So that makes sense. Simplifies that for me.
Cool.
I mean, I'm going for it, because I have my hesitations. I'm not going to say I don't, but I just have a feeling about this guy, man. I
love that. I have this feeling about Ben and a couple others, and I'm glad. I respect that about.
I love your idea though of the trading down, because then you get 2. So I love that too. So I'd have to really get into and weigh the pluses and minuses on that. But that's what I'm thinking there. Now, how about you? If we got the number 2 pick, what are you thinking?
I would go 1 or 2. I'd take Jabari. If 1 or 2, I take Jabari. I take Chet at 3 if we were at 3, and I take Ben at 4. Onward.
All right. So there you go. Wow. I like that. I didn't even put Ben on here.
Yo.
But I think Ben's going to slip. I have a feeling, and that's going to be good for us.
I hope so.
Yeah. Which is why I
can't see him slipping. I think he's just going to wow people in workouts. But if he slips, Lord, let him slip to us, because I like your draft a lot better than mine.
Oh, man, it'd be fantastic. It'd be fantastic. But then again, man, if he's there at 6 and we can trade up and flip for him, man, I'd love that.
Got to swing for the fences one of these days, folks.
Stanley,
and also one other thing,
Stanley.
We're all full of good players. The stock room's all full of good players. We need elite from this point on.
Yeah.
We need to start adding elite players, and let's pay a tax.
Yes, definitely. Or at least guys that can
athletic
become assets as well that we can then trade for elite guys. That too. I'm not worried at all about him being a Porzingis guy. In fact, he actually Chet rarely gets injured.
I know, but he's on the court 10 times a game. He's on the court a whole lot.
Yeah, he does like a Mitch.
I know he doesn't have a left hand.
Yeah.
So he definitely has stuff he has to work on. He's not in the half court. He's not much of a creating his own shot, but like you said, he has skills that only the Lord can give you at his height, man.
What did D-Nice say? Chet needs to get himself a Puerto Rican girlfriend. That's right. Some rice and beans and platanos. Yes.
What?
We're fighting them up in New York.
What? No mofongo? No chicharron?
Yeah. Hey, maybe we get him a Jamaican mistress. She can make some
a little jerk with that. Yeah. Is that your jerk? You're happy to see me.
Trevor McKenzie, good to see you, brother. Tyson Daniel. Yeah. Dyson Daniels, we did talk about him.
Yeah, I just wish he shot better and was a little better athlete, Trevor, but he's a dog. We really like him.
He's definitely someone to target if the other guys are gone and he's around 9. If we're stuck at 11, he's there around 9 or 8. No one's grabbing him. Even 10, I would flip up to get him. Ben not going top 4. I don't see it, but Foxy's got great instincts. He thinks he's going to wow them. I just think guys that are 6'5", when they wow scouts or wow teams, the draft analysts for each team. When you got a guy who's like 6'8", who's wowing you, and you have a guy who's 6'5" who's wowing you, the size usually rise. So that's my philosophy in this particular chapter.
But also that one thing, if you have a player who makes the guys around him better, you got to love that Ben makes the guys around him better.
Well, so does Chet. So that's the two guys.
You're 100% right. 100%
of all the
right.
of the 5 guys, of the 6 guys we're talking about.
Paolo too. He's a great passer.
Paolo too is a great passer. Yes, I just have
Jabari's not. Ivy's not.
I just feel like, yeah, I agree. Paolo, yes, I just think to a lesser degree than the way Chet and Ben see the court. But Paolo is almost like is very close to there in terms of his passing ability and playmaking ability, and he can create his own shot. Well, he can. He can. Paolo.
Oh, absolutely, can create his own shot.
I'm just worried if he can do it in the NBA. You know,
I'm
the
with
thing.
you. I'm with you, but I think he will. I think he will. Okay. I think he has the handles to do it. The handles are everything to get separation.
Yes, he has a better handle than I thought at first.
Yeah, and that's everything to get separation in this league.
Yeah. Woo. All right. Well, we got some more stuff to talk about. We're going to talk some about international prospects next. And then later on, we have some Knicks news and NBA news that we're going to go over and recap. You guys, we want to hear your thoughts on all this stuff. We have over 160 in the chat right now. Thank you guys for joining us. This has been awesome. We've been having a blast so far. Shout out to Keith Turner, Geraldine, Trevor, Lex the Destroyer.
Yeah,
welcome, brother.
Lex, my boy.
What's up, brother? Good to see you, man. It's been a while. It's weird this off season.
Yeah, miss the family.
Ah, man. Knicks screwed up this season, man. Really screwed up this season. And Thibs, that article that Fred Katz put out, The Athletic.
Yeah.
I don't know what your feelings are about it, Foxy, but it annoyed the hell out of me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they're giving him an out, and he made too many mistakes, man.
Yeah.
Didn't play the kids, his rotations, his out of timeouts, his just running the guys into the ground, just a lack of a feel for the game. Offense, there's just no vision, no innovation. So I think his time's come personally.
But not yet. We still have him.
I know.
We have him for at least the first 30 games, I would estimate. If we get off to a bad start next season, it'll be hard for them to keep him, but you never know. They kept him this season. So, but I think at least he has the next 30 games that he coaches. He could end up making it through the whole season. We'll see. But he definitely screwed up this season. And I think they're trying to repair that image, that article was just literally it felt like a puff piece.
I know that Fred worked for MSG.
Yeah. I mean, I had no issues. I mean, they gave, I don't know how it came about, but whatever, they gave him access, certain players to talk about the early group. If all of that is really true, then that really pisses me off even more, because that means he was seeing this. And it also makes me think that Thibs doesn't understand the concept of exponential growth. When you have a young guy and you teach him, a couple things, and then they go out there to try to make it work, it's not going to work immediately. But then once it clicks, if they have the athleticism and the mentality and the approach to it, this thing could soar. And that's what we saw with Obi and IQ at the end of the season. Those guys weren't just doing well. They were balling in those last few games.
Yeah, but it was the lack of growth of looking at teams like Golden State and saying, what, let me expand my rotation. I don't have to play the kids 20 minutes, but if I give these kids 5, 7 minutes, 10 minutes a game, their development will be incredible. But not playing them was just absolutely crazy. And until the end of the season, but everyone was screaming for him to play it.
Yeah.
And I think everything's going to be contingent if whether we can get rid of Randall. I think Tibbs' future, everything.
Yeah. Oh, you said Randall.
Did a duck fall down?
I mean, that article came out at such a weird time. Now it's I love the kids after his actions clearly didn't show it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought you were brilliant. Just kudos to you. Your work on showing that we couldn't close out because Tibbs overplayed these kids and they had nothing, the guys, nothing left in the fourth quarter. Come on, you're supposed to be an experienced coach.
Yeah. Well, he didn't play the kids enough. He was playing the other guys too much. Yeah,
exactly. So you were wonderful in pointing that out. You were ahead of the curve and saying, hey, man, look at these stats. These guys, you're playing them the whole third quarter and you wonder why we can't close a game out.
Exactly. The guy's already played 30 minutes by the time the fourth quarter begins. you know there's going to be problems, or whatever, 20, about 30 minutes you can play. Woo. All right, let's get to the international players. Here we go. Top international prospects for the 22 draft. According to Foxy and George, we share a lot of the same guys. We basically have almost all the same guys except for 3 guys that are extra. Dyson Daniels is on your list, Foxy.
Yeah, number one, I'm a big fan of his. Absolutely a huge fan of his. And I see him growing. So I think he's a great pick. Somebody who's going up the boards is Ousmane Dieng. It's pronounced with a J, even though it's a D-I-E-N-G.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay,
yeah.
Good.
People are falling in love with him because of his size, man. He's, that 6'9", 7'1" wingspan. So, the last like 10, 11 games in the NBL, he was shooting from 3, creating in the paint off the dribble. So the teams are just going to fall in love with his size, length, and fluidity. But I'm not buying it. Meaning I think he'll be a good pickup at 17, 18, 20s. He shot 27% from 3, 67% from the foul line. And I think he's soft, actually. He had only less than a half an offensive rebound per game. So he's, I wouldn't go crazy on him, but he's absolutely somebody going to fall in love with. And the same thing with Nikola Jovic from Serbia. Tough kid.
A lot of people like him.
His guard skills at 6'10", 6'11", and playmaking. He sees the floor, but he doesn't play defense. He can't play defense. He's not strong enough. He did shoot 33, a little over 33%, and 41. He had 41 threes in 25 games, shot at 33%. So he needs to pick that up. But I think, again, teams will fall in love with that guard-like size. I have Montero, the kid from Dominican Republic, here only because of people need point guards. But I actually like what you have better, the kid from Italy. But I spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks, folks. First up in Maine was the Portsmouth Invitational, where and you also had the Nike Summit. So at the Nike Summit, Montero went there, and he showed quickness, he showed handles, playmaking, court vision that I think will get people interested. But at Overtime Elite, folks, this year he shot 27% from 3, 55% from the foul line, and I'll just round it off.
These are all projects, all these, except for Dyson is less so. He already has the elite skills.
Now Dyson is the real deal, folks. Yeah,
he's a real deal.
But he's tiny, so Montero will get destroyed. But one of my huge sleepers, folks, is number 5 that I'd actually bring up, Ishmael Kamagate.
I like him a lot.
I like this kid. He has a 7'5" wingspan. He's a stash. He's 21, so I don't think he's going to be ready to 22, 23. That may turn off some people, but he's very athletic. And here's a couple of inside things from Foxy that he played, in France. So I've been watching him for 2 years.
It's a good league.
A very good league. So not being at anything, but Obu Danku Baji, I didn't see that much growth. I've been watching him for a couple of years now. He's still the same player. Ishmael Kamagate is much better this year than he was last year, and a lot of it is attributed that he's been playing and practicing with the French national team, Gobert, Batum. But here's the big find. I saw him in an interview, and he said the thing that's made the biggest difference is he's played with Kyle O'Quinn, ex-New York Knick, is playing on the Paris team this year. So O'Quinn has given him tips. telling him how to get to the show, but also he's helped his English. He talked about how his English has gone to another level of communicating. And that's huge for a kid coming over to the NBA. So he's very athletic.
That makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference. So I heard that. Oh, that's a Foxy. That's a good one. So I love that Kyle O'Quinn that way, but also shooting mid range. He's not a one dimensional guy. This kid. So whoever gets Kamagate, I like this kid. I absolutely could see him going from 25 to 30 in the first round. A team like the Mavericks would love a Kamagate.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Montero, I think is probably a late second rounder.
If he's going to get destroyed on defense.
Yeah, I basically have the other four that you have.
But talk about your number 5, man. I love your number 5. Nobody knows about him. That's why I'm so proud of you.
I'm going to put him on everyone's radar. It's still early, but Gabriele Procida, that guy, 6'7", shooting guard. Man, can that guy?
He's athletic, uber athletic.
Yeah, one
of the most athletic guys. He can shoot the ball, man. So
shit.
Yeah, so Italy has a serious team, man. Yeah. Their national team between Banchero, Procida, Matteo Spagnolo, who we both didn't talk about, but he's lit it up also. So yeah, I really love that pick. Kudos to you, man.
Oh, Links Black has a guy here. George Foxy, can't wait until you guys talk about the second best upside high ceiling international player in the draft.
I have him written down here from France.
Hugo Besson.
Yep.
I've only seen his name. I haven't scouted him out yet, so I got to do more of that on that guy. But I'll definitely put him on the road. Thank you so much for shouting him out, Links.
Yeah, I've been following him, Links. Thank you from France. Been watching his game. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if he can handle the Dirty Dancer. He's talking about the Matteo Spagnolo from Italy, but I don't know how Hugo will handle the athleticism, but he's happening. He's absolutely happening.
My other guy is Ibu Baji. Baji, I have Kamagate higher than Baji, but I think Baji is the kind of guy that he's got a lot of raw skills, but talk about incredible athletic player.
He is. He
might be the most.
He's
definitely the most. I think he's the most athletic of this group here.
Well, Kamagate will give him a run from his money, but he's absolutely athletic.
Yeah, he's playing right now with Rokas on Barcelona, so it's somebody to keep an eye on. Like if we have the 42nd pick. He'd be interesting there, depending on what happens with Mitch.
Yeah,
all predicated on that. But it's not. These are not necessarily for us. We're just looking at international players in general for other teams. It's just something interesting for us to put on the radar. But all these guys have some interesting potential. I'm a big fan of Gabriele Procida. I think you guys are going to start hearing his name, especially as workouts ensue.
Shooting and athleticism is in 6'7". That's a nice small forward.
Yeah, excellent. Nikola Jovic. Yeah, that's the thing. The defense is the major issue. Offensively, he's got a really nice offensive
repertoire.
Game. Yeah, he offensively he can make it in the NBA. Yes, I don't know if he can stay because of his lack of defense. Now, could he learn in the right scenario? Possibly. All right, so now Foxy was kind enough to create a top second round and stash prospects, guys that may not get drafted.
That's the one after this. This is the undrafted.
Oh, this is the undrafted one. Here, this is the second round.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right, give me the floor, Foxy.
I love Jalen Williams, folks. If you watched him in the tournament, I love this kid. I like this kid so much. I think he's going to actually go back to school, but if he doesn't, I would actually. We got Grimes at 25. We got Deuce at 20. We got IQ at 25. I put resources after we make our pick. I'd go for Jalen Williams. I think he's one of the best passers I've seen in a long time. This kid's motor, his defensive intensity.
At his size.
Yeah, 6'10", almost 7'2" wingspan. He led the nation. I've never seen somebody who had a mixtape on charges. He led the nation with 59 charges this past year. Unbelievable. Yeah, he's a dog. I love dogs. This team, so great shot blocker, fantastic passer, unbelievable, pick and pop potential, stretch five potential. I see him as a more elite athletic Taj Gibson. And as a great IQ, but I think he'll go back to school. Jabari Walker, you've heard me talk about him. A 6'8", 7-foot wingspan, athletic, high flyer, 3-level scorer, cover wings to power forwards, good 3-point shooter, good shooting form, shows promise as a stretch four, solid rebounder, tenacious defender. We saw him block our boy Ben Matherin's shots and stuff like that. Real high basketball IQ, son of Samaki Walker. So I love that pedigree. Big fan of Jabari. Here's one of my sleepers. I have two sleepers coming up, folks. Jalen Williams. Not the first Jalen. This one's from Santa Clara. Some people may not have heard of him. Actually, he has a 7-foot. That was my typo. He has this over 7-foot wingspan. Not the 6.
Of these guys that you have on here, I love Jalen Williams from Arkansas because you pointed him out to me.
Yeah,
yeah, and then Jalen Williams, he could really be an interesting prospect in the second round.
Well, we know 50, 40, 90 is the standard. He shot 51% field goal percentage, 40% basically from three, and 81% smooth. One of the things I was proud of. Yeah, over the last few years, I was proud of a guy that nobody talked about. I talked about a guy named Desmond Bain. Look what he became. I talked about a guy last year, Aaron Wiggins. He had a phenomenal season. He was picked 55th last year, and he had a phenomenal season. I think this Jalen Williams of Santa Clara is this year's Desmond Bain or Aaron Wiggins. He can score. He's lethal off the catch, score in multiple ways. He has a 7-foot plus wingspan. Again, it's a typo on here. Great court vision. So I think that's a steal. And the next kid, folks, Ryan Rollins of Toledo.
Him I don't know much about.
Yo, check him out. This kid, I think, is going to be special. I think he's going to be a steal. Some of the best handles in the whole draft. A good shooting form. He shot a little over 31%, but the ball, like we were just saying with Dyson, it's not left or right. The ball's going to go in with this kid. He made 65 pull-ups, outstanding perimeter shot creation. On the pick and roll offense, he was in the 95th percentile as a ball and screen passer. I absolutely, I always like to have sleepers. Ryan Rollins is my combine sleeper before it happens this year.
Right, you heard it here first.
You heard it here first. I was proud of last year, the guys that I did. Ryan Rollins is my guy this year, and also Jalen Williams and Santa Clara, both of those guys. And the last one, just kudos to my good friend D is balling, Derek. He pointed me in this guy's direction. Vince Williams of VCU. VCU last year was Bones Highland. This year it's Vince Williams. 6'6", basically a 7-foot wingspan, smooth. Skilled, versatile scorer, playmaker.
Great size.
Yeah, 3-and-D. I absolutely think that a team that, it's going to bother me that a team at 28-29, a Golden State, a really good team picking late is going to get this guy.
He might be a late first rounder.
I like him.
Jalen Williams might be a late first rounder.
Which one?
Jalen Williams.
Well, I got two.
Yeah. Jalen, yes. Jalen with a Y and Jalen, both of them might be late first rounders. But I think Jalen without the Y, Santa Clara Jalen, he might be a late first rounder.
Yeah, and folks, the funniest thing is I didn't want to go crazy, but it was very easy for me. Ryan Rollins, I like him so much that I had him here. But the other guy was another Williams, Alondis Williams from Wake Forest. He's a phenomenal finisher. He's got great instincts. Unfortunately, he didn't shoot the three well, and he's old, meaning not old, but he'll be 24 at the end of his rookie season. So that's getting up there from a ceiling standpoint, but I could see somebody being very successful picking him out of Wake Forest. But these are the guys from the second round and stash that I think could be something special. And really, Jalen Williams, I don't see as a stash. I see him, if he came out number one, the kid from Arkansas, immediately. And if we got rid of Burks, Jalen Williams.
I'm surprised you have him on here because I definitely see him as a mid first rounder. Jalen.
Yeah, I
the Arkansas Jalen.
Yeah, I do too, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I love dogs, man.
We'll see. All right, let's get to the next one. These are guys that we think will probably go undrafted.
Exactly. So John Butler. Yep. Undrafted. So John Butler, 7'1", 190 pounds. So he's a string bean, but he shot almost 40% from three. Good length on defense. Obviously, he needs to get stronger, but he has a beautiful stroke. Peyton Watson. I hope the kid goes back to school. This is one of the most highly touted athletic.
I think he's going to go back to school.
Yeah, one of the most highly touted small forwards, but he just didn't play much because of that UCLA team. But prototype size, very raw on offense, but I could see him a great upside as a defender. Musa Diabate, the same thing on Michigan. Athletic, I think he's going to go back to school too, but athletic, mobile, great motor, very good in transition, versatile defender. Again, very raw offensively. Isaiah Mobley may sound familiar. He's the brother of Evan Mobley.
He can shoot the three.
He can shoot the three, 6'10", 7'3".
Yeah, he can take it off the dribble.
He could absolute block shots, good rebounder. So I look at him as a potential stretch five that we can get. We've been looking for one for a long time. And my last one, and I don't know if he'll go back for a senior season, but Tracy Jackson Davis, if you watched him for Indiana and playing for Woody, that excellent passer, disruptive 7'1" wingspan, athletic, good hands, scoring instincts, a lot of blocks. He goes
back because he's a guy who gets another year with Woody. I could see him definitely at least getting drafted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and same with Peyton Watson. UCLA guys, they always show up in the NBA at some point. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get enough burn at UCLA.
They had too much of a roster.
A lot of it was his fault. And the team was just that was just an excellent UCLA team. They made it to the Final Four last year, and they made another deep run this year. So they couldn't wait around for him to catch fire. But he definitely had some good moments. And he had to compete against I forgot the other guy, Clark, I believe. So he got pushed out. But I hope he goes back as well. Yeah, these are great. These are really awesome guys to put on the radar, man.
And actually, I have one other. Like I said, Montero, I watched at the Nike Summit in Oregon, but up in Maine at the Portsmouth Invitational, Jariah Horn, folks, from Tulsa. He's a little old. He's 25, but the kid can shoot. He can shoot. 6'7", one of the best shooters in the country. So just real quick, I had it right here. He shot 41.5 from three this year and 84% from the foul line.
What volume?
Big volume. He took him on his back. 6'7".
I'm always anytime someone throws me a 40%er, I gotta hit.
No, I know because you hear me sometimes. 40%. He shot one a game.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, Jariah Horn. If you hear him, or again at the combine, if he lights it up at the combine, you heard it here first.
One guy we didn't talk about was Travion Williams.
Travion out of Purdue, one of the best passing guys. He
didn't fit in the way we structured the show because we were looking at the top 11, and then we were looking at second rounders.
If this was the 1970s, he would have been picked a lot higher, folks.
Yeah. That guy can pass.
Beautiful passer
from the center position. Yeah, he's and a very good defender. He's another guy to keep an eye on.
He needs to take off 10 pounds, 10, 15 pounds. He's a 4. He played a 5, but he's a 4 in the NBA. Well, he could play 5 too, but he needs to improve.
He can play 5 in modern NBA.
Yeah, I think guys like Ed Liddell out of Ohio State and stuff like that, they're going to go higher because of their shooting and stuff like that. But I like Travion Williams, one of the best passers in all of college basketball this past season. Just ask Jaden Ivey.
That's right, man. All right. Well, this was excellent, man. So this we still got a whole other section of the show. We're going to talk about the Knicks news, Jalen Brunson, and various other topics. But at the moment, I just want to shout out Alex. It's me, Dope Show. Smash that like button. Thank you so much.
Hi, Absolutely. It's me.
Shout out on May 4th. Good to see you again, brother. Back. Alex P. Alex P says Knicks should draft Malik Curum Jr. Oh man.
Heard wicked crossover.
Totally. Trying to see if I missed any interesting.
Dakula 718, my friend. Hope all is well.
Yeah, man.
Chris Dada, our buddy Chris.
Oh, Chris. I didn't see him. There's Chris Dada. Shout out, Chris. All right. If you guys haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, please do so. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the Knicks-Verse and Sports Vibes TV. We will be doing many more live shows, and I'll still be putting out other videos, either covering news, covering rumors, and covering some ideas that I have for the Knicks moving forward. But there's still a lot in the air. A lot of it will depend upon what happens with this lottery. If we manage to get a little bit of luck, it could change a lot of what we do. Like you heard Foxy present an awesome idea. If we got lucky enough and got the number 1 pick, trade down with OKC to get their 4th and their
12th.
4th and 12th.
And hopefully their 30th.
Yeah.
4, 12, and 30.
Let's take the 30th. Let's take the 30th too. Hey, the number 1 picks don't get traded that often.
Yeah.
You got to get as much as you can. Absolutely. And it also depends on once guys start working out and we start hearing what people are saying about them, what the rumors are, and we get to watch some of the tapes that they leak. It could change. It could impact, who rises, who drops. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. But now we're going to talk about a whole other situation, which is the point guard situation. The point guard situation for the New York Knicks. Now, this week, I'm sure by now most of you have all heard that the Mavs have put out, leaked some information that they're not interested in doing a Brunson sign and trade. And if you've been watching the playoffs, Jalen Brunson's price has gone way up. Now he's looking
stratosphere.
He's looking like a $20 to $25 million guy, like no matter what. Some people are thinking maybe a 4-year, 90, mid-90s type offer for him. That's a lot of money. I'm not sure how you guys feel about him. And at that price, we did a show, I think about a month ago, and we talked about him in that regard. And I was thinking, well, maybe at around 17, I might be interested in doing it. 20 would be the absolute max. But it looks like 20 is it's not going to be anywhere near. It's going to be more like 24, 23 and a half for him. I think that's a lot of money to put for a guy who the first time that Brunson has ever had back-to-back 30-point games in his entire life since high school was in the playoffs recently. It's not like he's a very, very good player. I don't see him as a Fred VanVleet type of level, just like slightly below. That's how I see him. I don't know, but how about you, Foxy? How do you view him?
I think you just nailed it. I like Brunson. People heard me talking about Brunson for a long time this year, but at the value price, I would not pay $25 million for Brunson. He's still league average. He's one of the elite finishers in the league.
He is. He really can fit. I mean, his ability to finish, man.
Yeah, George.
I'm stunned.
George and I are cleaning the glass guys, and one of our thing is the orange doesn't lie. He's orange. When you look at his shooting accuracy, this guy, and his worst part is, he shoots league average. And that's the worst part. But everything else, he does really, really well. So, but I don't see him at that price tag. I just think it's too rich. And the reality is the Knicks would have to do major surgery to get that room in the first place with all of our contracts. We would have to get rid of guys and do crazy things to get him. And I just don't. And the rumor mill is Detroit is all ready to give him, to pair him with Cade, take some of the burden off Cade, is giving him that $25 million. So they got the money. They don't have to do the surgery the Knicks do. So Brunson, I thought it was a good idea, but you know what? IQ, the money differential and the performance differential.
Yeah.
I just don't think that Brunson does enough to off. Hey, the thing we love about IQ is he developed from his first year to his second year, and I think he's going to develop from his second to his third year even more.
I agree. And I actually I think IQ is a better defender.
Much better defender. You know, and I also went on record as saying
he's bigger.
He's bigger wingspan.
Much bigger wingspan.
Yeah. So, and I also said, hey, the difference between Brunson and Deuce is handles. But Brunson is 25 and Deuce is a kid. If Deuce could somehow get those handles, hey, don't forget Brunson was a second round pick, folks.
Yeah.
So this was not first round, you know. But he's Villanova tough. I love that parts of him. But 25 is too rich for my appetite.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's driven his price up. So it's almost. And you have to wonder: is Dallas going to pay that high? Look, Dallas could have had him for a $55.5 million extension.
I know.
So now we're talking about, almost doubling that.
Yeah, but you look at the contract they have at Luka. Look at the contract they have with Spencer Dinwiddie. Look at the contract they have Bertrands. Dorian Finney. They could only offer him $13.5 million. They would have to do craziness. I don't know how. And also, if they do, that means that the point guard position between Luka, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Brunson, they'd have almost all their money for the team in that one position.
Yeah, I just don't see. I don't see Dallas giving him that much money. So it's going to be interesting. I honestly, I don't know where this is going to end up.
I think he's going to end up in Detroit.
Well, if that's the case, I think Detroit will have made a huge mistake overpaying for him that much. But then that'll be that. So we'll just. But there are sign and trade scenarios, even though, despite what the Mavs have said, they may actually have to do a sign and trade the way that, because one of the things you just pointed out, I mean, they just have a lot of money that it's already given to Dinwiddie and Luka. So, I mean, can they afford another 20 plus million guy out on the perimeter, the backcourt? I'm not sure they can. So they may be forced to do a sign and trade situations. A lot of people out there have put out some interesting ideas. Actually, I saw some stuff on Knicks Film School. Macri and Jeremy had some interesting things. It's very convoluted. It's very tricky, but there's a possibility sign and trade with Randall.
Or Mitch.
Yeah. So there are scenarios that could be, and in that respect, it becomes more interesting because, well, not necessarily Mitch, I don't, but like Randall becomes interesting because I'm a big believer the addition by subtraction. So if we can get rid of Randall and then we end up with Jalen Brunson, we'll work the rest of the shit out. As far as I'm concerned,
I'm with you. I love that attitude.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm still on the fence about him. I'm not sold. Like I definitely felt last season that if we had made a play for Lonzo Ball, I would have been ecstatic. And I think that hurt us that we weren't able to get Lonzo. Now he ended up getting hurt. So that's always a risk. But in terms of the actual type of player and the type of fit, Lonzo is a better fit for this team than a Jalen Brunson.
Especially on defense.
And defense. That's the other thing.
Shoots the three much better. It's kind of weird to think two of the premium guys that we looked at that we could have thought about last year, both Lonzo and Kyle Lowry, both got hurt.
Yeah.
That would have broke our heart.
Totally broke our heart. But is Lowry gonna make it back?
I don't know. I don't know.
He looks really comfortable.
Let us know, chat. Yo, brother BKL Contreras. I just saw you. I hope all is well.
Shout out, man. May 4th hates IQ.
Hey, come on.
Let's see here.
IQ grew on me. I'm a big guy. Hey, when I saw IQ with those kids with that iPad, that's my type of kid.
Yeah. He's a baller. He's gonna win you over May 4th. You'll see. He's gonna win you over.
He won me over, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. All right. The next thing is, and it's the final thing, and then we'll talk, any other questions or whatever, is this. The Nets shit themselves. The Nets could not even win one game in the first round. They're out.
Yeah.
Now, did this collapse? Because I've been saying, if you guys have been watching this channel for a year, been saying that the Dolan has had a problem this entire time, which is the Brooklyn Nets. And it's had only gotten worse and worse for him. And then when Harden came here, got even more, it just increased more so. They are trying to take ownership of being the most significant NBA basketball franchise in the New York City area. So that's a problem. It's a problem for James. And this, look at this tweet that New York Basketball put out. How it started. Brook win. The inside story on how the Nets swiped Kyrie and KD from the Knicks. And then look at it now. Netmare. Kevin Durant could not will this team past the Boston Celtics into the
Pulled a Randall.
Yeah, well, actually, Kyrie is the one who pulled more of a Randall. Kyrie, what, he averaged 15 points a game?
No, I meant effort. There was issues.
Effort, yeah.
There was issues where it was like, yo, man, where's that effort? Where's that aggressiveness?
Yeah. Now, I will say this. This is temporary because these guys could all come back for next season, and Ben Simmons could finally grow some balls. And this whole mental thing, I'm going to tell you right now. I know, apologies to anybody who has a serious mental, that struggles with mental issues, because I don't believe Ben does. I believe this is all manufactured so that he can keep trying to collect his money. He hasn't played one single game this year. I think it's bullshit. He let everybody down. He let Philadelphia down, and they got lucky to get out from under him. They got Harden in exchange. Good for them. I have been hard on Ben Simmons his entire time because he created this whole disaster, and then he tried to play the victim, and he's still trying to play the victim now. And now he dragged down the Nets, and thankfully it's helped the Knicks. It's bought them some time. But Dolan, Leon, and Tom Thibodeau, you don't have much time, man, because at some point, those Nets are going to figure it out, and they will win an NBA championship at some point because they're not going to stop. Look how many times. This is their second stab at this. We saw when they got Garnett and Paul Pierce. Remember that? They made that attempt. Didn't work out. They got a lot closer here. This is probably was the greatest trio that will never win an NBA championship in the history of the NBA. This is a catastrophic failure. However, they're still two of the five best. Well, I don't know about Kyrie, but definitely KD is definitely one of the 2-3 best players in the NBA. Now, maybe the injuries impacted him a little bit, but it comes down to they gave up so much to acquire these guys. They didn't have enough people to put around them, and they're still in that dilemma. But those guys are smart. They're going to figure it out, and this team is going to be back, and they're going to try and take the crown away from the Knicks in terms of the most significant franchise in the New York area for the NBA. So this summer, if you guys, Leon, if you have a chance to swing for the fences and it makes sense, you have to do it because these guys are coming. Any thoughts, any things you want to say about this situation with the Nets and the Knicks?
Karma's a bitch. I'm glad.
Karma is a bitch.
Yeah, I'm glad it came back and bit them. And hey, if you want to go to Brooklyn is one thing, but they were just saying things. Hey, man, it's a profession.
They were throwing hate at the Knicks.
Exactly.
Saying, we just want to do our own thing, go to Brooklyn or whatever. Or
exactly. If they, I would have been cool with it, but they were just giving the finger and trying to do on it. So
they were saying Knicks ain't cool. Let me tell you something, KD. Knicks are the coolest franchise because of us, the fans. The
real
fans
fans
are what makes Knicks cool. So the fact that you didn't get that shows how limited you are in your understanding of what fan passion is about. You missed the boat, brother. You could have been the king of New York if you played on the Madison Square Garden floor. Instead, you chose to follow that dude, Kyrie, who missed the boat, brother.
Everywhere he goes, drama follows.
Yep.
I think they should have held on to Harden and doing something that late in the season, and with the Hail Mary that Ben was going to play and stuff like that. It was too much of a roll of the dice, man.
Yeah. I mean, Harden, he's showing limitations right now. But when the trade first went down and I broke it down, I said the Sixers won the trade today. If Ben can get his head out of his ass, and man up and own the shit that he's created and get out there and try to win, then the Nets will have won the trade in next year. So, and that still may be how it plays out. We'll see. It all depends on what happens with Ben. But can you imagine having Ben and Kyrie on your team? You have to depend on those guys.
No,
Kyrie doesn't like the work. He sees this as a casual thing.
Yeah.
I think in reality, I think that's why he abandoned the team because of the January 6th thing. Remember that for 2 weeks he couldn't handle it or whatever. I don't think he just doesn't put in the time.
And also the reality is, and if he did put in the time, statistically he'll probably get injured because he's been injured. He's been injured from college onward, so they lucked out that he didn't get injured.
Yeah, we're not commenting on their skills.
Yeah,
not at all.
So no, he's some of the best handles I've ever seen all my years of watching
greatest finishers I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, he's got elite skills, but playing 82 games is a whole nother thing for Kyrie. And also, you just watched him, whether it was with Cleveland and then going, you have a nucleus, then goes to Boston, you have Tatum and you have Jalen. You're like, wow, I got these two young studs, and with me, we could build something. Nope. Always, so you don't know what the hell goes through that guy's head. He's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it could all still end up working out for them because, they did get some
it better hurry up, man. The last hurrah is coming soon.
That's right. That's why we need our guys to get their thing going and just add the right pieces, make the right moves. Sometimes the moves don't have to be that outstanding, to really make a team ratchet up another level. Just find the right pieces.
Look at Memphis, man.
Yeah, that's a great example of Memphis. Now, we don't have the Ja level kind of guy. RJ.
But look at their record without Ja.
Yeah, look at that. But I know, despite how everyone else feels, I think RJ still has tremendous upside, and we have Cam. Who knows what Cam can end up becoming given the right amount of time. Obi's a 2010. He's a walk-in 2010 guy. If he's given the starting position, and we also need a little bit of luck on our side too.
Yeah, we're overdue. Come on, Lord, you don't ask much.
We are overdue.
Just give us the number one and let us get Ben and Terry, and we won't ask you anything.
I like that idea. I love that idea.
And folks, don't forget one other thing. Another asset in our pocket, which is really important in the NBA, is Rokas. So we could use him in a trade package. Yeah.
And I think that I've heard rumors that they might look into that, but then they died down. But you never know. Did they ever go?
I think they went to Barcelona. I think they went over there. Yep.
Interesting. Wonder how that played out. All right. Well, speaking of going over, 2 hours. It was great, though. We had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Hey, it doesn't feel like 2 hours when you're having fun talking about the Knicks.
No, it doesn't at all.
And hanging out with our family.
Yeah, man. And you guys in the chat, thank you guys so much for joining us. The chat has been robust. It's awesome stuff. I'll reread it all later on in case I missed anything. Let's see. We built the Nuggets. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Jamal Murray, man. Nuggets are going to be a problem next season. If Jamal Murray, I'm not that worried about. I think he is going to come back or whatever, but you never know with him. The back issue with Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, but his talent level is just outstanding, man.
Yeah, Jamal, I heard that he's dunking off both legs now, so I expect Jamal to come back, and he's don't forget what happened in the bubble a couple of years ago, folks. His shootout with Donovan and
Didn't he have
stuff like
two
that.
50-point games?
Yeah, man, he can shoot. I just yeah. So and also
three level shooter.
Yeah.
He has mid range, which he doesn't necessarily use as much because he can get to the basket so easily. But his ability to finish is great, and then his 3-point shot.
You know, we talked about Ousmane Dieng. I see Denver's a team I could see that pick him up and put him on the bench for 2 years, and then he all of a sudden like, wow, where did this guy come from?
Brother Contreras. Actually, George, Kyrie is now in free agent. Yeah, and they do literally signed him from the contract extension? That's literally problem if they signed KD with a bunch of money. It's literally a bunch of work. Yeah,
that's a whole bunch.
Yeah, that is a bunch. I don't see the Nets letting Kyrie go, especially unless KD asks them to. If KD wants Kyrie there, Kyrie will be there next year. But if KD realizes once he leaves, takes a vacation, he starts thinking back at what happened this season, and I'm like, you know what? It might be time to part ways. So that'll be interesting. This is going to be a fascinating offseason, guys.
No, man. Can't wait to hang with you.
There's so much up in the air. So much up in the air. Oh, man. Let's see here. Always got to throw this one up there. Thank you, Adrian, for keeping the hashtag alive. Fire Thibs tonight. Let's see here. 6 more likes. Let's hit that. Hit that like button. Thanks, Lex, for shouting it out. And if you guys, again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and drop your comments. And if you're watching this later on in the replay, drop your comments and we read them all.
Yep. You have any questions, any thoughts, let us know. We love answering them. Anything
you want us to focus on in future shows, that'd be awesome. Let's see. I'm just scrolling back here. What? Why would we pay? Marvin Smith says, why would we pay Brunson $20-25 million? He is not even a top 15 guards. What is his resume other than these games? Well, he's a solid guy. I think he's probably, his ceiling is probably top 15. But he's efficient. He's so efficient. But his defense is the big weakness from my point of view. Especially for a Thibs type team.
Yeah. But his style of not being a very high usage guy would fit if at the right price tag.
Yeah. All right. Okay, cool. I'll reread them all. Excellent. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Foxy, you want to sign off?
Just thanks, everyone. It's been a few weeks. We missed you, but we're thinking positive. We're asking the Lord for a little help on with the ping pong balls, and if that happens, we could reconstruct this roster within a year and bring some dogs and athleticism on to complement RJ. Let RJ be the best he can be, and that's what it's about. RJ, we both love RJ, and he just needs a little help. Take some of the defensive pressure off him, not have him do both of those things to wear him out. And let him just go, and hopefully he'll finish a little better and, work on that midi game and just be a little more efficient. But love the growth that we saw last year and see a 20-point score. I'd love to see 28-5 from him next year.
28?
No, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
I think he's going to score. I think it's going to be 24. I think he's going to be a 24, 8-5 guy.
Yeah, all he needs to do is hit foul shots, and then he's a 24-point guy.
Yeah. Finish one more at the rim than he has and hit his free throws. Yep. He can be a 24. He can be a 20. Yeah, so I have high hopes for that. But we'll break that down. We'll get deeper into that as the offseason moves on into the summer. But it's going to be an exciting time. I'm loving the playoffs. Been some great games. Been watching almost all of them. Partly because I love it just to watch them, but also scouting, seeing what kind of guys might be interesting in terms of trades to bring to this team. And one guy, I'll say, Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is an interesting interesting player that could be an answer for us from the bench. From the bench as a point guard.
Jalen Brunson without the price.
Right. Right. So we'll keep an eye on that guy too. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this. My name is George. Stephen Fox. Please tune in to more shows and please subscribe and hit that and turn on the notification bell so you know when we're going to actually go live, because sometimes, you know, right now it's random, especially in the off season. And we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.
Boom.